Previously on Pagewaster.
Do I think Your Favorite Martian should return? No, it's way past their time. And they had a good enough run in my opinion. A ranking video? When will I make a decision? Am I a gaming channel or an animation channel? Do I make music or do I make memes? Why can't I make a choice? Videos aren't art, right? Any video? Are all of my videos an art? What do I want to do with my YouTube career? I've tried all sorts of things, but nothing sticks. Where will I end up?
So this is where you've been hiding.
I'm done with you, so stop coming after me.
Done with me? Seriously? That was weird. Anyway, howdy. I'm the guy whose video you clicked on. Odds are, if you're watching this, you probably already saw my original review of YFM songs within the last 4 or 5 years. And you're probably wondering what I've been up to on my extended hiatus. The short version is, I ain't been doing jack shit. I've got a full-time job and zero motivation. At the time of writing this, I haven't made an actual script in 2 years. Since my review of V Rising, which, well, it's not publicly visible on YouTube because I'm embarrassed by it, but you can find it. I won't tell you how. Just leave a comment there that says Morbius if you find it. Also, check this out. I got a new jacket. The hood can fit over my head now. Anyway, I'm back, and boy howdy, there is a lot to talk about. First of all, I made 3 full scripted YFM videos. Most people only know the one, but returning viewers, for whom I have my deepest and most profound affection, probably already know the reviews I did for all the YFM cover songs, as well as the one for YFMTS. When I released that video for YFMTS, I could not fathom what was going to happen next. I published the YFMTS ranking, and it's as if Ray William Johnson himself stared down at me with either disgust or pride, and decided it was time to become the Frankenstein to his monster again. First, all of the YFM songs that were unlisted from the main channel, and the YFMTS episodes that were originally uploaded to Animonster, got re-uploaded to the main channel, which was, at the time, still called This Project Is Retired, which, as we know now, is once again Your Favorite Martian. Now, my fans raised concerns of this while I was streaming Elden Ring or some shit, but at the time I shrugged it off. Rumors started circulating that YFM was coming back, but based on a community post on the YFM account that has since been deleted, I was led to believe that it was just housekeeping. You know, getting everything back on the main channel where it belonged. But no, a year after that happened, we got the big June 1st announcement, and I felt the clock in my content creator soul start ticking. As an average YFM enjoyer, I was excited for anything new to come out, but I also realized that the return of YFM still carried substantial worries. After all, in 2020, I said that I didn't think YFM should return, and to a certain degree, I still agree with that statement for reasons I'll go into detail on later when I'm done with the rankings. But there's a few things I want to go over before getting into the real meat and potatoes of the video, so hold on a moment longer, alright? First of all, I want to explain the upside downs, which I'm going to refer to as TUDs, to save time. I commented briefly in the YFM covers review, but TUDs is another cartoon band that Ray made a couple years ago. No, I won't be reviewing their songs. I don't want to go too deep into their music, but I will say that Wolverine is easily my favorite song from that project. The reason why I need to bring up TUDs is because of this character. This is Stevie the Demon. She appears in a number of the Gen 2 songs, so it's important to recognize that she's not really a mainstay of YFM like Wax and Benatar were in Gen 1. I'll discuss her performance whenever it's relevant. Lastly, I want to comment on the new unfinished episode of YFMTS that was released. It's funny to say it's unfinished though, because having painstakingly watched every episode of YFMTS, I can safely say that its quality is basically exactly the same as the other episodes. I mean, if this were released back in the day in the exact state it's in now, I wouldn't have batted an eye. But structurally, I actually really like the episode. In fact, I'd go so far as to say it's one of the best. Now, on to the ranking. Let me break down how I do this. Every song is ranked based on two things: the music itself and the video associated. The music category gets points based on lyricism, clever writing, and mostly my personal taste. The video category gets points based on concept, storytelling, visuals and shit, you know? Anyway, that's all the preamble I have. Buckle the fuck up, because I'm ready to go on one last dive into this wretched content. And I've got some real strong opinions, and a straight up conspiracy theory, so here we go.
I'm a superstar, you don't know it yet. About to run the city, call me Boba Fett.
This single-handedly set a negative precedent for my opinion of any YFM song that came out afterwards. For a lot of reasons that aren't even obvious. YFM Gen 1 had soul and passion put into it, and for the most part, so does Gen 2, but this is what they decide to release? They made me angrier than I even realized I could get at YFM. This alone is a statement against even being able to compare Gen 1 and Gen 2. They have to be separate. The possibility that this exists at all completely sets Gen 2 in a field so far removed from Gen 1 that neither are comparable to each other. But anyway, let me get into an actual explanation here. If it somehow isn't obvious to you, Telescope's music video is 95% AI-generated slop. The excuse given was to try out different art styles, but bitch! You can and actively did that with 2D animation already. As for the song, the lyrics are boring, uninspired. The only thing I find interesting is the chorus lyric, looking at a star through a telescope. But everything else is so mediocre I wouldn't be surprised if it was written by AI as well. Another thing that drew fans to Telescope, and it's a pretty ludicrous reason that I am going to rant about, is that this is the first YFM song to have every member of the band feature their own verse. Except, no, not really. Not if you ask me. Benatar's singer, Jesse Cale, was quote-unquote unavailable for this performance, so instead of waiting and letting this cook more, someone just said, fuck it, get another guy to do the voice. Look, I'm not throwing shade at this Ethan C. character that does Benatar's verse. In fact, he sounds fine. But I'm a longtime YFM fan, and when Benatar started featuring in the Maker era, I genuinely thought he brought something good to YFM's music, and I am not alone in that sentiment. I know Jesse Cale has his own life and can't always be available, but the thing about Gen 2 is that he was pretty available. He performed in a lot of songs in Gen 2 and performed the chorus of Everyone Clapped. But this marks the moment that Jesse Cale's name just stopped showing up in the vocal credits. This is the conspiracy theory I was talking about earlier. I seriously feel that this song pissed Jesse Cale off and he noped out. I don't have any evidence of it. I'm grasping at more straws than a disemboweled scarecrow over here, but I don't want to believe it's far-fetched at all to assume. Telescope is the embodiment of how bad YFM can be in this current day and age. This is the thing that should never, ever happen again, and the sad thing is, if another YFM song ever even comes out, there's a possibility another AI video will happen again. I mean, look at Ray William Johnson's TikTok. He's literally become a soulless AI content farm fishing for views with repetitive, annoying, boring nonsense that people will mindlessly scroll through and forget in minutes. Fucking Chris Chan has more creativity than Ray William Johnson does. Let that sink in. Well, thank God this is the only one like this, as far as I can tell.
Sip, sipping on, sipping on, sipping on Orphan tears.
The story
I want to preface this by saying when YFM came back and the first song they came back with was a sequel to Orphan Tears, I was immediately worried. I didn't want YFM to be retreading the same ground as before, The idea that old concepts were going to be recycled ad nauseum to cash in on nostalgia was not pleasant. Fortunately, this was kinda the last one that did this. Now, the writing is pretty plain, there's not much going on for wordplay. It's a lot of storytelling, and the video is only visualizing what's being said. Sure, that's what all the videos do, but Orphan Tears 3 isn't doing anything fun with it. There's this weird plotline going on between the two new Orphan Tears that kind of spits on the laid-back fun of the original song.
What Bill Cosby said in a flashback of our last trip. He said, "Hello with the pudding. Hey, the pudding cups may be key."
How the fuck do you come to that conclusion? That's such a high-risk gamble. Now we gotta know what's in the pudding cups. Is it adrenochrome? Orphan Tears 3 was this idea at its worst stage. Nothing can do Orphan Tears 1 better than Orphan Tears 1. Sorry, that's just how it is.
I'm a ho,
Remember my rant earlier about AI? When this released, either a little after or a little before, I can't remember, Rave released a YouTube short that I want to think is a joke.
So can AI write a hit song? Well, let's test it out. All right, so we go to one of those AI websites, and we enter a prompt, a song that sounds like it was written by your mom, in the style of the Grease soundtrack. And then we submit, and now we wait.
A few moments later.
Are you ready for this? A song in the style of Grease that sounds like it was written by your mom. I'm a Nailed it.
I lean towards this being a joke because the writing is actually pretty good. Worst case, some of the lyrics were generated first by AI and then modified by man, but I'll consider that this is an honest human creation for now. If I'm wrong, God, we are so fucked. I find the lyrics pretty standard, there's not too much going on with the wordplay, but it's got this sort of YFM charm to it regardless. It's simple and silly, but it could have been more. The video follows the My Balls and Tiggle Biddies theme, where all kinds of inanimate objects are compared to the shape of an ass. It's not much, but I can at least say that it feels like YFM, even if it is at the bottom.
And I'm like, nah, go and be with fake Kid Rock.
Everyone clapped. You should have seen it. Everyone clapped. Gotta believe it.
Everyone Clapped is a play on this meme that spawned from, I think, Tumblr, where someone told a story that was highly unlikely, and the biggest tell was the line, "Everyone clapped." This is actually one of my favorite jokes on the internet, because when I read a story being passed off as a thing that actually happened, and it's so absurd, I can't help but say to myself, then everyone clapped. It's a simple pleasure for me. The lyrics are alright, they don't verge on anything too clever or intriguing, but I guess as far as storytelling goes, it's not bad. It's not so much the lyrics in this one for me. What I like is the instrumental, though I guess on its own it would still be a pretty generic club techno beat. The gold medal that this has over others that are low on the list is that it's the first and only Gen 2 song to feature Benatar entirely on the chorus. That's Benatar played by Jesse Cale at least. So yeah, bonus points for that one, my fellow Redditor. The animation, it's pretty good, I'd say. There's simple pleasure in how they animated Benatar's hair moving in the wind as they did. It's something that I don't think has been done in a YFM video before, so seeing that attention drawn to any kind of motion, really, is impressive. All around, the animation is showing a lot of what Studio Ladybug is capable of. Kind of wish the chorus sequence had a little more going on, but I wouldn't call it bad, I guess. Alright, this is a pretty fun song. It tells a great story. It's catchy, it's funny, the instrumental is nice, and this was the introduction of DJ's new singer, Stephen Johnson. I definitely believe his performance of DJ fits. Wax and Shubas are the MVPs here. I can tell they had a lot of fun with this, and honestly, Shuba's verse alone is what kept this from being 14th place. The video is good, the dance animations are generally a lot of fun, and there's details in the artwork that I can appreciate. Okay, I'm entering into the middling area where I generally think the songs are just okay, so I'm gonna start running out of things to say soon, but bear with me.
And we're back to the disco, back to the music, back to the flashing lights.
This was the Gen 2 debut. I have to admit, like I said before, I was very worried that this was a bad sign for the future releases. When it came out, I didn't favor it highly based on principle alone. It was Orphan tears, but a second time. That's not fun. I still agree with that notion to a certain degree even now, but the first part of the song isn't too bad. It's the second and third verses that draw it back though, because they set up the third Orphan tears, locking both of them into this weird serialized story that 2 whole uploads had to be wasted on. Stevie the Demon is a good vocalist. When she's singing, I do generally enjoy it, but I honestly feel this wasn't a song that benefited from her at all. It's at least different from the first Orphan tears, I guess, but if you ask me, it never needed to exist to begin with. I hated it a lot more when it first came out, but looking back on it, it's not terribly offensive as far as I'm concerned. What kept this from being a lot lower on the list was the animation. Sure, the characters have a look to them that's emblematic of how they were still trying to fit into the redesigned look, but the animation kept in some degree of the original Orphan tears charm, which Orphan tears 3 threw away almost entirely to wrap up this ham-fisted story that Orphan tears 2 started. Look, I'm no stranger to creating lore from nothing. I do it all the fucking time, but usually it doesn't see the light of day because my lore writing is for the imaginary dolls in my head that I puppet around while I sleep.
Yes, I'm ugly, I don't let it bug me. Oversized head with a face like Gumby. Body like Play-Doh, I don't feel ashamed though. I don't give a damn cause I still got game though.
I honestly want to skip reviewing this one. It's right dead center of okayness. I don't care much for the premise, but I still think it's catchy. Billy Marchiafava's music on its own stands up pretty well, but his feature here seems average to me. You know, the Upside Downs did a song with a very similar premise, and while I think this is a lot better, knowing that information still makes me wonder whether this is a recycled idea from that project to some degree or not. There's kind of this thing where there's evidently a brief message about self-esteem, but it's minuscule compared to the concept of having a lot of money or something, I don't know. A lot of the lyrics would be way less out of place in rich people shit. The video utilizes this Picasso cubism style throughout it that's super creative, but maybe that's because I have a soft spot for Picasso's art. Then it swaps to this kind of corporate looking hand animated thing later that looks really ugly, which is on brand for the song, I'd say. I consider both of these differences in style to be great for the story they were telling here, and it burns me knowing that the song that came out after this one was fucking Telescope. This song showed that you could do different art styles without using AI garbage. Hell, this corporate style art sequence was made by Studio Ladybug 2, right? So that shows there's a lot more they can do than just simple puppeted flash animation.
I'm just gonna think myself. I don't like anyone else.
Based. That's all I gotta say, bro. Based. We got Puff Puff Self-Cessed in 2023. Massive W. Let's go, brother. This is the turning point in the rankings. It only gets harder to make complaints for the songs going forward. The storytelling is compelling. It's a spin on loving yourself, but, you know, taken very literally. So in that light, it's the same concept as Why I'm Single, only dialed up to 11. And of course, the iconic
Go fuck yourself. So I did.
line. This clip broke containment. I saw people posting that shit on Twitter and not even being YFM enjoyers. It's insane. There's been a lot of Easter eggs in Gen 2 where the old design of Puff Puff is hidden somewhere or otherwise included, but having him be front and center for once was an amazing use of storytelling, and not to mention the Maker era Puff Puff at the end too. Great song.
Rich people shit. Billionaire shit. Rich people shit. Trillionaire shit.
Mozart if he was a good musician. The lyrics are really solid. I'm at a point in the ranking where personal taste overwhelms my ability to actually explain the location on the list. So, you know, kind of like the number 9 spot in the Gen 1 review, The difference here is that there's actually more than 5 words spoken in the entire song, so I guess I gotta try, right? My favorite part of the whole song is when he names all of these national currencies and then drops Ferraris in there as if they're the rich person currency. Made me lose my shit when I first heard it. Wait, so if the baby is made of diamonds, does that increase the likelihood of it being kidnapped? There's the part at the end, too, where Benatar, voiced by Ray, because of course he doesn't have a singing role in the song, suggests they can make the world better, but of course they'd rather be millionaires and spend their money on frivolous... Oh my god!
Did somebody say millionaire?
Fuck! Fucking goddamn, you scared me!
You
Shit!
said millionaire.
No, I said millionaire. Millionaire. My house! Why do you keep doing this shit?
We still have unfinished business, Pagewaster.
Dude, can you fuck off? I'm doing a video right now. Save it for the end like last time at least.
Fine, but I'm going to sit here in the corner and watch you work on this.
Jesus, man. Okay, fine, but don't say anything. You seriously piss me off. Fucking Vegeta wannabe.
I want you to fall to your knees, and I want you to say,
While I don't exactly vibe with the gospel-style intro and outro, the song itself goes pretty hard. This is awesome. It tackles the idea that the algorithm, for some people at least, is everywhere. The algorithm does, more or less, feed us most of our entertainment nowadays, a lot of our recommended online purchases, etc. Now, maybe it's not as deep as that, but regardless, I feel that even though it's more laid back with its lyrics, that there's still a message to glean here. Of course, the visuals are what really stand out. This was the second video to be animated by Team Legend Studios, and they are a huge step up from Studio Ladybug. I've always liked the simplicity of Studio Ladybug's flash animations. It feels so on brand for YFM at this point. But it's evident that Team Legend Studios has a radically different experience to offer, and if I had to choose between the two, I'd choose Team Legend no contest.
I'm in love with a real girl. She's big in the real world.
And then we have the third one animated by Team Legend, and I get even more impressed by the visuals. The neon look of Algorithm God, it was nice, but after 2 videos that were divergent from YFM's usual look, I'm glad to have seen Team Legend spend more time being on model. Real Girl is more visual than it is singing, if you ask me. While the writing is good, I think it would have been better with, Benatar singing it. The song is from his perspective after all. Meanwhile, the storytelling with the animation is great. Within the first few seconds, we can see blueprints on Benatar's desk, and though it's hard to ascertain, the video is framed in a way that makes it seem as though the rest of the band is trying to help him out, even though they're making fun of him too. Overall, it's nice to see the band interacting with each other in this style. And look, they even brought back Axel's pet hawk too!
Say that again?
I do have to say, however, there's a line that asks, "Have you ever loved a cartoon?" And nah, can't say I relate at all. Hey Noodle from Gorillaz. Hey, I was just wondering if you wanted to maybe, see a movie sometime? maybe get some dinner. Oh, okay, see you later. Bye.
Do you always act like an idiot around women?
I told you not to speak! Furthermore, Benatar gets illustrated in the style of other popular cartoon characters like the Looney Tunes, Fairly Odd Parents, the Rubber Hose style, even the infamous CalArts style. It's great seeing YFM experimenting with different art styles. It sure would be nice if we got more of this! So do you think she consented to this, or that she's trapped in the cartoon world now because of some guy she's never met?
I do believe the captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. I ain't trying to flex, but my childhood was turbulent. It gave me a lot of scars that are permanent.
And the first video animated by Team Legend has appeared. Same as before, my soft spot for these songs are more the videos than the songs themselves, but the lyricism for Trauma Song is easily the best of the Teen Legend videos. It's also relatable too. I've not exactly had the best childhood, but, you know, I'm not complaining too much. It wasn't so bad that I needed to take a grippy sock vacation or anything. As DJ says, everybody had it tough, right? DJ is definitely the star player here. This was my favorite DJ performance in Gen 2. Stefan definitely clicked into place with this song in particular, and I'm excited to see more. There's gonna be more, right? What I've said about the visuals have more or less already been said in the previous two ranks, but does anyone else find it kind of funny how around 12 years ago, YFM made Whip Yo Kids, and now they're on this shit?
My grandpa got his ass whooped, so my dad got his ass whooped. That's why I got my ass whooped. Did anybody else get beat?
Not to mention transphobic techno, and here we get a sequence where young DJ gets beaten for having lipstick on. This is the kind of deep lore that YFM deserves, not that Orphan Tears 2 and 3 shit. He's doing it! He's doing the hand thing, look! After releasing Orphan Tears 2 and 3, I was certain YFM would be conceptually bankrupt. The bar for making anything good was so fucking low, and if you asked me, Verified smashed through that bar hard enough that I almost think Telescope being so bad was necessary to raise the bar again. Verified gave me hope for Gen 2, so it has a special place in my heart even if my friends hate it. Whatever. I consider Verified to be emblematic of what YFM is at its heart. They take an everyday concept and make a song based on it. And with how much the world has changed in the 10-year hiatus YFM took, there's a lot they can write, and I'm glad that social media verification was one of them. The video's good overall. This forward walking animation is jank though. Aside from that, I don't really have much room to complain. It's a fun video and nothing feels too out of the ordinary.
My insomnia is brutal, I feel crusty as hell.
Stevie the Demon, after her performance in Orphan Tears 2, wasn't quite someone I was looking forward to again. I thought to myself, maybe she's simply not fit for YFM. But I'm glad Brain Rave perished that thought. I don't rub it in people's faces, but it's no secret. I've got ADHD. A continuous stream of thoughts that I can't control is not a foreign concept to me at all. And Brain Rave grabs me for that specifically. The lyrics flow into each other well, and Steve the Demon pulls everything together with a chorus. The video was prime real estate for the nostalgic vibe they were going for. TVs coming in with characters from YFM's history, clips from YFMTS, whatever else. The fact that their memories helps to accentuate the lyrics rather than just being a tug at nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. It's actually sensible for these visuals to be here, so bonus points for that.
You ever play Uno and you put down the reverse card and you wish you could do that in real life?
DJ, you pulled a Pokemon card! What are you doing? Similar to Everyone Clapped, Uno Reverse is a recurring meme from the last, 5 or 6 years or something. Another example of the huge backlog of concepts that YFM has in their hands. Uno Reverse proposes several silly little situations in which you could use an Uno Reverse card in real life.
I love this premise so much it's unreal. I've never played Uno though, so I can't really make any relevant statements about the game.
Every situation described in the song is funny as hell. I love the chaos that ensues after every use of the reverse card, especially the Mari Povich reverse. When I first watched this, I can't tell you what I expected, but it was not Maury now being the father of the child, and that made me lose my shit. The animation supports the lyrics fine enough. It's got all the silly visuals it really needs. Puff crashes into a flower pot, and he says it's in a churchyard, but it's clearly in the middle of the road, so whatever. Their fault for leaving a flower pot in the road. If I had $1 for all the songs about Uno that have been stuck in my head before, I'd have $2. Shouldn't it be 2 nickels? Yeah, inflation is a bitch, isn't it?
I I hate this job.
Everything about Eff This Job goes extremely hard. The entire instrumental is so badass that I'm convinced I could hear it in a John Wick club shootout. As far as I know, this is also most of my friends' favorite of the Gen 2 songs. At least it was the most popular one among them when it came out, and it's not hard to see why. The song has oomph. The lyrics are good, relatable, even cathartic, since the very day I am writing this part of the script, I literally had a fuck this job moment. I love this stupid knockoff Gangnam Style that they do in the video. I have to admit the Mr. Maker thing is pretty funny, considering working with Maker Studios was apparently pretty bad for a lot of reasons. There's a sign in the audience near the end that says YFM predicted Bill Cosby, and yeah, sure, that's totally what they did. Just like they predicted that Brazilian girls have big asses. They totally predicted that. Totally. They can take the credit for that, I'm sure.
Nobody get ahead of us. I've done so many mothers. Everyone calls me Oedipus.
I am very badass. Ladies in line all waiting to smash. Been badass since I was a kid. Lost my virginity before my dad did.
So, anyone here remember when I put Mr. Douchebag at rank 30 of 33 on the Gen 1 ranking? And then, right after I uploaded the ranking, Mr. Douchebag literally became a fucking meme out of nowhere and boosted YFM's popularity in 2020 of all fucking years? Yeah, I remember that. And looking back on it, I don't disagree with it at all! Yeah, that's right. I still don't care for Mr. Douchebag. It deserves that position at 30 on the Gen 1 list. This doesn't have the place in the list that it does simply because I regret my decisions with the Gen 1 review. I seriously think that I Am Very Badass is the best of the Gen 2 songs, and it was hard to keep that opinion over the ones that were animated by Team Legend, but I did, because it's just plain great. Full of pop culture references, funny and clever lyrics, and Fistful of Leaves reprises his role as Axel, saving himself from the horrors of only being in fucking Telescope of all things. Thank God he could come back to show he's better than that. There's still some negative things I can say about I Am Very Badass. The instrumental is honestly pretty ass, but so is the one for Mr. Douchebag, so I guess you could say it's on brand for the character, but the vocals are good enough to make up for it, which I can't say about Mr. Douchebag. The video accentuates the absurdity of the lyrics really well. I'd go so far as to say that I Am Very Badass has one of the most Gen 1-esque music videos of the Gen 2 songs. It takes me back to a lot of Gen 1 songs like Club Villain, Robot Bar Fight, and yes, even Mr. Douchebag. There's this part in the video where Douchebag has a can and it says feelings on it, and he crushes it and tosses it in his mouth. Dude is literally eating his feelings. That is clever as fuck. I love that visual gag. You can't blame me for liking this one so much. I mean, even Putin likes the guy.
I don't dodge bullets, bullets dodge me.
Alright, well, that's the review. Guess I should give some extra opinions. That's tradition at this point. What does Gen 2 have over Gen 1? Well, not a lot. Gen 1 was made in a totally different time. Ray William Johnson was one of the most popular people on the internet, and in general, people were used to hearing a lot more risque things. Gen 1 had this aura around it. It felt very in the era. Gen 2 is good, but there's this lukewarm familiarity to it that's not too different to Anthony returning to Smosh and making skits with Ian again. The long hiatus crippled the way that kind of content connects, because the audience that used to watch that content has since moved on. But I mean, what's YFM supposed to do? Not make music? What's Smosh supposed to do? Not do skit humor? The spectacle is rusted and chipped, so you can't just return to greatness from a 10-year vacation. You're going to change in that time. The people who enjoyed your content will have changed. People will fall out of interest while you're not supporting that interest with them. And that's truer in the Vine boom generation than ever before. Interests are becoming exponentially harder to maintain in a society that is offered an endless deluge of short-form entertainment that reinforces the thinning of our attention spans. You might say a rant about short-form content is unwarranted as part of the conclusion of my review, but that's where you're wrong. For 7 months now, since the last YFM song was uploaded, as of me writing this script, Ray William Johnson has been doing nothing but making shorts, promoting YFM for TikTok, and creating a repugnant annoyance of storytime videos with a vomit of AI art to go with it. This is what he's been doing for 7 months, maybe even more. Now look, I'm not saying it's the only thing he's been doing. As far as I know, he could be creating a huge backlog of YFM songs and videos in the background and plans on uploading them in 2025. But until I see it, I'm gonna doom post and theorize until YFM comes back in 2032 for Gen 3. Wait, no, I haven't supported my fans in years. I haven't been making the content they would have wanted to see. I've been ignoring them. I'm guilty of the very thing I berate YFM for. Oh God, this is exactly like the end of my Gen 1 review. It's happening again. What worth do I have as a creator? I can't maintain even a small fan base. Everyone has moved on. All the people who enjoyed the Gen 1 review are 4 years older now. How could I ever win them back? What will I do now? My dreams of being a creator, I shot them dead like my own proverbial old yeller. What's the point of even continuing? I'm getting too old to have dreams. I'm growing too distant and cold for any sort of fame. I should just sink away into the depths of obscurity and become a random thought someone has 6 years from now, looking through their list of liked videos. Hey, you done having a mental breakdown? Oh, I forgot about you. Yeah, wouldn't be the first time. What are you doing? Whoa!